here we are 1 year later as promised. I said I'd postpone it, or I said we'd postponed it, and we have. So I'm really happy to tell you that the hour record is happening again. There's been a few changes since what was planned last year. A lot of it has stayed the same. Some of it has changed. Now, we are doing an hour record again. It's going to happen on the 3rd of November. So that means a very long season for me, but there is method to the madness, and that is capitalising on a season like last year to then hit an hour record hard. The attempt last year was going to happen in Manchester. Unfortunately, this time it is not. I actually really wanted it to happen in Manchester more than anything because the prospect of racing in front of a home crowd really excited me. However, Manchester is having its roof replaced this winter, and we couldn't get an answer for love nor money as to when that was happening. And crunch comes to crunch, and we had to say, okay, Manchester is off the table. So then we considered our options. London's just a bit too slow. We knew that from the 2015 attempt. So we had to start looking abroad, and we looked at Aigle, the 200-metre track in Switzerland. We looked at Grenchen, which is where Joss and Dan both had their recent successful attempts. Berlin also was another sort of fast option, but then we kind of thought, if we're going to go abroad and attempt the record, we may as well just go to the fastest track in the world, which is in Aguascalientes in Mexico, which is where the current world record is held by Victor Campenerz back in 2018. 55.089 kilometers in an hour from a standing start is the target. So I'm sorry it's not happening in Manchester. I know a lot of you will be disappointed, and there's a big part of me that's disappointed about that as well. But it is what it is, and you know, the priority was doing the attempt. The priority was doing the attempt for the reasons that I will go into. So yeah, we're off to Mexico and we'll have some tacos. So it hasn't been easy. It really has not been easy to reschedule this. We've my coach Michael Hutchinson described it as organising the World Championships and then competing in them, and that really has been what it's felt like. And so more so Chanel, I've been training as hard as I can. Chanel has been working tirelessly on bringing this together, and it's been touch and go for a time, but we have some huge thanks to give to some sponsors for making it possible. And you know, sponsors can often be the elephant in the room, but I think they really shouldn't be. And first and foremost is Pfizer, who do a lot of work in the haemophilia sector. They have created an app called Hemo Heroes, which is designed to help young haemophiliacs navigate haemophilia and different scenarios, how to manage the condition, how to, in a fun, interactive way. So you'll see the Hemo Heroes app. Even if you're not a haemophiliac, it might be a cool app to download just to get yourself acquainted with what haemophilia is and how it affects kind of everyone, but youngsters more so, because it's a journey that I had to go through, and it's a journey that all haemophiliacs have to go through, and it can be quite daunting. Secondly, my trade team, Israel Startup Nation, they've provided support for this attempt, so thank you to them. I mean, you follow this journey, you know that they're a very prominent part of my career, so thank you. Hammerhead as well, and Hammerhead are one of the most forward-thinking bike computers on the market at the moment. It's a product much like Factor that is developing at a very fast rate of knots. We saw this year the climb function was integrated into the Hammerhead unit. Not something that's going to be super useful for an hour record because it's flat, but something that's been very useful in racing. I'll be using the Hammerhead in the run-up to the hour record. You'll see it very prominently on this channel because you know it is a very advanced piece of equipment and something that I use in training every day. And for the attempt, as per track rules, I'm not allowed to have any kind of information or head unit in front of me on my handlebars, but there will be a Hammerhead underneath my saddle that will be recording all the information and the data, which we'll be able to share with you afterwards. Thank you also to the Independent Pedalers. A friend of mine there has kindly donated to help this attempt happen. The Independent Pedalers are a very prominent time trial team in the UK and a cafe in Kent. So thank you, and I urge you to, if you're in the area, go visit. Great cake. So the last two brands I'd like to thank for the sponsorship of my attempt is Endurance Zone and Yellow Jersey Cycling Insurance. Now, Endurance Zone is a marketing agency with a unique approach to connecting athletes with brands, and Yellow Jersey is a specialist cycling insurance company which will caters for the cyclist on travel and everything you kind of need. So, I like to align myself with brands that I believe in, and for this hour record, I'm very lucky that these brands have wanted to align themselves with the attempt and what the attempt stands for. Now, things that I've told you about, a lot of things that have changed from last year, but the main thing has not changed, or the main two things that have not changed. The fact that we're trying to break the hour record, that has not changed, and thankfully, the distance has not changed either. So 55.089 kilometers is a huge ask. That's fast. This is no small thing that we're trying to undertake. But, and the overriding reason why, in the certainly second half of my career, is why I race, and that is for the haemophilia community, which is why there's such heavy involvement from Pfizer and from the Hemo Heroes, and but showcasing as hard as we can both the Haemophilia Society and my charity Little Bleeders. Two things that I urge you to look at, to check out our websites, just to learn a bit more about haemophilia, because certainly for youngsters, school can be a daunting place. To go to school like I did, with either on crutches or with your arm in a sling, or in bad cases a wheelchair. Thankfully, things that don't happen so much anymore in the UK, but do happen further afield. It's daunting to try and explain to other kids what haemophilia is and why we have sort of problems. Like I said, modern medicine has made the haemophilia journey much more bearable for the families and leads to a far greater quality of life for the athletes. If I'd been born 5 years earlier, I certainly would not be a professional cyclist. I'd be in a much more dire situation. So the idea of this attempt, success or failure, is to show what haemophilia can do now, is to show that we, as haemophiliacs, have a much brighter future than we used to, which has always been the main motivation for the attempt. It would be nice to break the record, but I think sometimes there's a strong message to be had, whether you succeed or fail, and that is to try. It would be very easy to not make this attempt, and trust me, with the last month we've had, it would be very easy not to make this attempt. But it's something that is hugely important to me. It's hugely important, I think, to the haemophilia community, and perhaps there's a much bigger message to be sent out to sort of the community, that you got to throw yourself into something, even if you think it might be like that, which, according to Victor, it's a 50-50 whether I'm going to break it or not. So anyway, that's it from me. It will be streamed on my YouTube channel here on Thighs Club, and also the UCI's YouTube channel. I mean, you are more than welcome to hop on a plane and come to Mexico and watch, and I promise you it will not be ticketed. But it will be streamed on this channel right here, so please subscribe so you don't miss it. Like I said, 3rd of November, Aguascalientes in Mexico. It's at altitude, which, for those who've been following this channel for a while, know is my arch nemesis. So, this is possibly the greatest battle possibly in the history of cycling. I'm going to close this video with that. The greatest battle in the history of cycling, me versus altitude and Victor Campenaerts.